This is Hot Topics, presented by the SAP News Network.
Hello, this is Angela Klose with SAP News Network. In today's Hot Topic podcast, we'll focus on a new promising concept that revolutionizes the way we do agriculture. I had the opportunity to take a glimpse into a fully digitalized vertical farm of SAP customer and ever in Kuwait, a co-development project with SAP's Office of the CTO Germany. And now you are invited to share my experience.
My name is Mark Otselius. I'm 55 years old, started this company 5 years ago, but now here we are operating a big farm located in the south of Kuwait City, where we have 3,000 square meters of grow space roughly on a 1,000 square meter footprint. So the beauty of our concept is that we can grow 250 different varieties of herbs and greens that we grow in proximity of the consumer, meaning next to where the restaurants are, the retailers are, and the consumer is actually living. I think what we have created here is the most revolutionary farm in the world. I've never seen anything like this here.
We are in the flat desert near Kuwait City. Fine sand as far as the eye can reach. From time to time, a camel farm or a small irrigated field comes into sight. For the last few hundred meters, the street had narrowed down to a sand track. Now our car stops in front of a 48-meter-long white industry hall. We step out into the chilly wind of a late February day. Mark Otselius, the German founder of Ever, is proud to show us around. As a former restaurant owner and high-quality food enthusiast, he has come by accident across the idea of urban farming.
The food chain that has been established with retailers and producers in the last 50 years is in many areas a disaster. We have been as consumers being pushed towards something with the promise is always cheap, but we completely forgot about the true content. Why are we eating salads? We are eating food for its value, not for its pure mass. My approach was let's create something highly tasty, very nutrient rich, but with no pesticides. When I looked into urban farming, I didn't find it very sustainable. It doesn't really supply lots of food for lots of people. Through urban farming, I came to indoor farming, and then for the first time I tasted a basil that was grown in a completely closed environment, and I was really taken by that. The taste was just amazing. And I said, okay, this is something. If this can be done, if you can replicate such a high quality by growing it in a different method, there was nothing in the market that we could really use. So out of this necessity, we decided to build our own farm.
This was 5 years ago, and just the beginning of a fascinating story how Mark and his team reinvented the farming business in the digital age.
We quickly understood that just taking everything from a greenhouse or from open field simply indoors doesn't work. We started talking to SAP when it came to data management, about data security, data analysis. So we did things that a normal grower would never do because it's overly expensive, overly complex. It doesn't really seem to be appropriate for him. So we needed to define a new technology, a new approach how to grow vertical.
Mark Otselius opens a heavy metal door and we step into the giant building, filled with 10-meter-high racks, which are completely covered with canvas on the sides. The racks build up 4 closed cells called farmhouses. Each cell contains 9 layers of racks, and each rack contains 23 big metal benches covered with crisp fresh salad leaves.
Vertical farming means that you stack literally layers above layer, and quite logically, if you can't get natural sunlight, you need to have an equivalent to that, which is LED light. And as of today, we get full spectrum. We get a sunlight equivalent that is extremely good for growing indoors. Instead of 1 layer in a greenhouse, multi-layer in an indoor vertical farm. So we can grow 30 times as much on the same footprint than any greenhouse in the world.
The water supply is also very different to conventional greenhouses.
When you go indoors, there's mostly hydroponic systems. There's too much water, too much weight, too much pumping, too much complexity. So we developed our own concept called dryponics. Dryponics is a hydromembrane where we grow on top. The water is below the membrane, and the roots get only nutrients and water and are exposed to the maximum amount of oxygen. So we work right now on a thing that we call bestponics. Bestponics is mimicking a little bit the open field. For some crops like root crops or spinach who need a different environment, we create different substrates. So we are on a mission to learn.
All seeds are sanitized. then distributed onto a substrate in metal benches. The conveyor belt transports the benches to the 4 growing cells. An autonomously operating tower crane, 9.8 meters high, takes one tray, lifts it carefully and moves it into a free space to the side of one growing cell, right onto another conveyor belt. Within 21 days, the bench will be slowly moved 10 meters to the other side of the growing cell, where another tower crane will take it out, ready for harvest. In this controlled environment, there are neither insects nor plant pests.
The advantages in growing indoors is above all zero pesticides. That's key to us. Second to that is that we are really resource efficient in terms of the water that is evaporated. The water is kind of recuperated and being directed back into the system. So with this we save already 40%. Then our crops are so clean because nobody is touching them. These crops can be consumed as they are. They don't have to be triple washed after harvesting. In total we save 90% water compared to open field and compared to greenhouses. The fertilizers are added to the system, but they stay in the system. Whereas in open field, they are dissolved into the ground. So it's water efficient, it's nutrient efficient, fertilizer efficient. And if you combine it in an efficient way with solar, biomass, wind, it's also very efficient in terms of energy. Compared to traditional farming as we know it, that we can grow 18 times a year indoors versus at best 1 or 2 times outdoors. 90% less water, in 60% less fertilizer, and above all, no pesticides at all. Optimal climate control allows us to bring square meter output per year easily from 50 kilos up to 100 kilos. Our ambition is in the next 3 years to get now to 100 kilos per square meter output per year. It's a huge advantage over any other system, whether it's greenhouses or open field agriculture.
And here comes SAP into the game, explains Mark Horzelius. SAP, with its rich expertise in optimizing processes powered by analyzed process data of his farm.
We learn daily so much on our plants and that we can harvest data smartly with all kinds of sensors, and that's why we are proud that since 3 years we work very closely with SAP on this data science issue, because that will kind of show us the way in the future how to go from 50 kilos to 100 kilos. The sheer amount of data and the pattern recognition and all the buzzwords like AI and whatever, that suddenly became a reality in indoor vertical farming. I had great counterparts sitting there who knew a lot about agriculture, traditional agriculture already, where they were already measuring. And now suddenly we could transform that knowledge based on cloud-based systems, Leonardo-based systems, into real software that now operates this farm. You know, this farm without proper software in the background just would be just some metal and some hardware. The smart part is the software that we have been happily developing together with SAP and its affiliated partners.
Dr. Jan-Gerd Frerich, CTO of Endeavour, glitches into the little visitors group, proudly smiling all over his face. He is with Endeavour since 2018 and has brought up the company's IT system from scratch.
Our production planning especially is based on seamlessly integrated solutions of the SAP Business Technology Platform. Everything is controlled digitally. The seeding, the harvesting, the germination, our propagation of plants by CO2 control, by temperature, humidity, airflow. IoT sensors and edge computing devices are collecting data throughout our farmhouses, several hundred data points per farmhouse.
All this technology is systematically used to make the farm more sustainable, adds Mark Horzelius, while we are continuing our round tour through the farm.
The sensors give us proper data on the crops. Based on the SAP HANA cloud system, we can then transform this data via algorithms into proper advice that we can give our growers how to grow more sustainable, more efficient over time.
SAP partner IB Solutions has built a bunch of apps that help steer the farm, explains Lauren Heilich, CEO of IB Solutions.
There we used the Fiori Launchpad and the Fiori design principles, and we started out with some master data apps. From there we moved to production apps to control the whole process after the salad is produced and is then shipped to the customer.
The customers Endeavour is targeting are upmarket restaurants in the center of Kuwait City. One of them, the Japanese restaurant Aura. On short notice, Endeavour delivers fresh, tasty and vitamin-rich greens to them, harvested on demand only a short distance away. The quality is unbeatable compared to the greens imported from Europe, knows Mark Horzelius.
Kuwait is known for its exquisite cuisine. It's kind of a melting pot of the neighboring countries, like Persian influence, you have Arab influence, you have like Middle Eastern influences from the Mediterranean. It's above all, we have a great partner locally who knows the market, who owns restaurants, who owns cash and carry. So the combination of the right partner, the right mindset made it very easy to decide for this location.
And also the right geographic conditions.
A desert situation is ideal to grow something because very little grows outside, especially in summer when you have like 52 degrees outside. Kuwait has 4.4 million inhabitants, so a farm of that scale can easily be justified. We are producing something like 550 kilos a day, which is 5,000 to 10,000 portions a day.
Mark Kotsilius is confident that this farm in Kuwait is just the first step to long-term success as digital age farmer.
We have now the technology, the software, the understanding to make it really a success. We currently negotiate a space in Abu Dhabi where we want to grow a big farm, meaning 20,000 to 30,000 square meter of grow space. Same is true for Singapore, and we are in talks with retailers in Europe. This farm is kind of our showcase to illustrate that software and hardware work the way we had planned for, and therefore I believe we have a very good future ahead of us.
It's the end of our visit to And Ever. We stand again in the sand of the Kuwaitian desert. Meanwhile, the wind has calmed down and the sunset promises to be beautiful, while we are heading back to bustling Kuwait City.